Hey all, Prof. Wright says, I've built my cube up to a good place except for 2-color lands. Currently have cheap lands, temples, gain lands, gates. Should I try to save up for shock lands or aim for mid-tier cheaper lands, check lands, triomes, pathways, etc.? I mean, the nice thing about the lands is that you choose, they are going to be as powered as they are, as long as you have the full cycle in. Either you're juicing it up with the more powerful stuff or not. I think the more you include enters the battlefield untapped lands, like if you're trying to figure out what land suite to put in your cube, understand that if you have a lot of stuff that enters the battlefield tapped, you are, it's harder on aggro. So if you want to support aggro in your cube, try to at least, whether or not it's shock lands or, for example, the pathways, you want to include lands that enter untapped more. I mean, every deck likes lands that enter untapped, but especially aggro, right? Because a control deck can use some of its early turns to deploy tap lands and not really punish its strategy, whereas aggro deck deploying tap lands early is just not what it wants to be doing. It wants to be creating threats to the board, right? So that's my main thought for you, is that consider, like, and it's also power level of your cube. I mean, if you are, there's no way that this is what you're doing, but let's say you had a full-on vintage cube, Prof, and you're running Moxen and Soul Rings. Well, yeah, you really ought to have shock lands in there, right? Like it doesn't make sense to have the lower end of the dual land spectrum in an extremely powerful cube. Now, I don't expect that you have a vintage cube here that you're talking about, but the point is, consider power level. Are shock lands, and I don't know if I assume you don't have fetches in there. If you're talking about saving up for shock lands, probably don't have fetches either. But that's the other thing. Like, I almost wouldn't want to run shock lands without fetches. Like, if you got the fetches in there, then I would save up for the shock lands. But it would almost be weird. Like, if I were in well, at least tell people, this cube uses shock lands, but not fetches, right? Because shock fetch is such the traditional combo that just to make sure people are aware of what you're up to, I would want to make sure that they were aware of that. I don't know where shocks. I sell cards, but I don't have any shock lands listed right now, so I'm not up to date on their current kind of pricing. So that's my thought. I mean, there's no, like, are shock lands that much better than pathways, for example? The ability to use ongoing either or turn after turn is sure great, but pathways make I love pathways. That's why I got a bunch of them. Like, I build cubes. Here's my opinion. Do I think you should get pathways? Yes, I think you should. I got a complete set of foil borderless pathways, one each, specifically for cube building. Yeah. So it's also the least sexy part of the cube anyway. I mean, if you're going to be a completist and really play to your themes of card strength or whatever, you kind of want to get those fetches in there. But the win percent difference between a cube, a deck that's running pathways versus shock lands is not that big a deal. And especially if everybody's using pathways instead of shock lands. So. Yeah, I like what Vargan is saying. I would try to, if fetches are a ways off, put your budget elsewhere. I would say go with the lesser costed dual lands and take your extra budget and buy some actual sweet spells that will make people go, wow, I want to cast that because Magic is fun. Nobody says that about playing a shock land. Yeah, pain lands are good. So there you go. There's some thoughts. Cheap, untapped lands, though, are my favorites for a budgetish cube. Ah, yeah, good one. Vargan points out budget fetches are the Mirage Uncommons. They're a little slower than fetch lands, but running on a budget, if you wanted to include them, you could. But again, now I wouldn't want to run those without shocks, right? So... yeah, frankly, I also don't hate proxies. I hate ugly proxies. And if I worked for Wizards of the Coast, I would not be allowed to say this. Wizards did not like employees talking about proxies as a real thing. But, and I also don't like, stealing from game makers. But generally, the types of people who make Magic proxies are the types of people who are keeping Wizards of the Coast afloat with the things they are spending money on. So usually it's just proxies are a replacement. Someone's already got a big Magic budget. It's just not big enough and they want to do this thing. I think that's fine. So I would say, well, it's not even necessarily reserve list stuff, Darkstar. Like anything expensive. You want to proxy Jace the Mind Sculptor, go ahead. I don't care. I care if it's ugly, though. I had this Facebook conversation. I'm not much of a Commander player or anything, but someone was asking, like, if they accept, what's your policy about proxies in a Commander group? And I was like, I don't care if you use proxies, but they better not be like, Jace the Mind Sculptor scrawled onto some ugly-ass basic land. Like, no. Like, I care about my game experience, so I don't care whether or not you have spent money on an actual card or not, but I want a game piece that I enjoy looking at. So if you're going to proxy in my game group, either bring good proxies or I'll help you. Contact me before we play. Tell me what proxies you need. I'll make them for you. I will make you good proxies, but don't be bringing some Sharpie-ass crap and calling it a proxy at a game I'm in. Have enough respect for art direction and nice looking game pieces to at least do it right. A proxy is when you take a card. Here, I'll show you how I proxy all over the place. I had what I called a I made it like a bunch of modern decks, like 40 plus modern decks, but I didn't have enough to put originals. So like I have these. Now, if you look in the upper corner there, it says AM, right? AM. But what is it? So AM stands for Arid Mesa, but I put it on a ETB tapped common dual land. And I like doing this because it reflects exactly what's going on. This is a black-red dual land. And in fact, if you were like, no, you can't, I'm not going to let you use proxies. Well, I could actually use this in the deck instead of the Arid Mesa and it would function. So when I make proxies with lands, I tend to try to make them that would function without it. Here's my Mutavault, right? But also, my system for these involved, if you wanted to play the deck that used this Mutavault, well, this was more of a placeholder. I actually had a box of everything. I had a box with like 4 Mutavaults. And so any deck that wanted to use Mutavaults could write Mutavault on 4 cards. And then I have the originals box where you could go and pull the actual cards. Yeah, it's a way to play with cards you don't own. In my case, though, it's a way to manage using cards you do own across multiple decks. That's what I use proxies for. I use proxies to manage, to have multiple decks using 4 of cards that I own. it allowed me to have, 45 modern decks without having literally 75 card decks that I could register in a tournament. Yes, playtest cards. Vargan getting super tech. Well, Siriana, that's I recommend doing that. If you have a lot of, like, let's say if you're a big Commander player or a big Canadian Highlander player, or even a modern player, you can make a box of all the originals. Like, if I were to take this for a tournament, I have my box of originals, and then put proxies in your deck, and every time you bust out a deck, just quickly go through and go, okay, I need to get those 3 originals, and then swap them at the end. That's kind of a library checkout system is how I used it, where my proxies were placeholders for the cards I wanted to check out of my card library. Mama, if you can pull it off, chef's kiss. But if you can't, having one little box of your super expensive stuff and you bring in 3 or 4 of them per Commander game, not a big deal. But I salute the Bling Queen. All right, let me do this. Got a little off track there, but for funsies. Hey gang, welcome. We've decided to part 2 this thing and come in and try to close out for a trophy in this premiere draft. We drafted this yesterday. For those of you not on YouTube, live friends here, this is a deck we've already played 3 games of. We're 3-0, and it's a pretty sweet deck. I'll show you the split. We've got Delver's Torch and 2 plate armors, helping justify something like a Hawk. Paladin class also. Basically, I'm in for the 1/1 flyers for 1 when you have ways to increase their power. And this deck has 4 ways to increase the power of this Hawk, so I like that. And big bombs. We've got just got a Froggy. We got the Paladin class. And Innkeeper has been a nice engine for the handful of life gain payoffs that we do have. We don't have a ton of life gain payoffs. Oh, we got Paladin. Anyway, deck has been great. We're going to play some more, see if we can pick up some more wins. Cabal Coffers. What the heck with that card? Who could see something like that? I don't know. Things like the Cabal Coffers going crazy. Just, I don't... Supply and demand is a funny thing. Well, this is not the best opener I've ever seen, but we do have a play for sure on 3. You keeping this? Anybody throwing this back? I think I'm going to keep... on the strength of the card draw on 3, but it's nerve-wracking. I don't want turn 3 to be my first play, but it seems likely that turn 3 is going to be my first play here. I don't like that, but it's a good one, so I'm doing it. I mean, it has to be. Like, there's nothing I could draw that would be a play even. So, in a sense, keeping this was accepting that you're doing Priest as your first play, but the deck has enough legs and enough long game that I thought it was worth it, even though we don't get anything on 2. And I don't love a Priest against a Shambling Gas, but we're still going to run it out. I'm sure it went down. Oh, actually, that's a good question. I mean, it could go up because of demand, but I expect that just availability would make it go down. I'd be really surprised if the net result was very difficult to... find card went up as a result of reprinting. Super bummer that we've not found anything to do on 4. I mean, I was talking about not having anything to do on 2, and that was a little bit of a knock. But really, finding nothing by 4 is really concerning. Owl next turn hopefully stabilizes. Hopefully that red-black just hasn't gotten off on the front foot enough here to really punish the slow draw we've had. That's a pretty good punish. We're at least going to drop, excuse me, this owlbear and try to trade with it, or try to eat it. But if we fail to eat, it probably trades with something. I expect removal for the owlbear, connect with a big attack. That would be a great play for Oppo, and no reason they wouldn't have it. I mean, we're just super lucky that Oppo didn't have that play, right? I mean, I can get all cranky and stuff, but these are the little lucky spots where the variance goes your direction and maybe you didn't quite see it. I mean, Oppo picks this off with a Grim and attacks with everything, and we would just be in an unwinnable situation, and all that required was a simple common. As it is, we get to start stabilizing. Do we go Greed and Unicorn ahead of the Herd Gorgers? Trouble is, yeah, we could do it now. They're not attacking. I'm not going to waste time, though. I'm going to do at least one Herd Gorger now. Make sure we have two big boys in case they do draw that removal. That's true. We might have our Gorgers stolen, but right now they're not showing at least an on-board sack trick, but surely them stealing this and sacrificing it would also be real bad news for us. But I couldn't see running out the Ranger and not maxing my mana there. And note that Oppo untapped without doing anything on... oh, no, sorry. They didn't do anything on 5, though, right? This is their 6th turn. So, yeah, I mean, they just ended up not spending that mana. So that's really great for us. Helps make up for the fact that we did nothing on our 4th turn either. Four, five, six, seven. Like, ideally, we come up with a 4-drop, or I would like to 2-spell next turn with a Unicorn. That would be great. If we're just calling shots, give me something I want to do for 4 mana, so we can Unicorn ahead of more life gain. Because even Froggy gains some life if Oppo cooperates graveyard-wise. Let's Ranger now. And then next turn we have Froggy Unicorn even, if we want. This gives us more good blocks against Ogre. We could send in with George. We know they got a red dragon. Is that just going to get us? I mean, we have Ranger for the dragon. I say no attacks. You could make a case to send George, but I think we're going to try to play a longer game here. Yeah, that's true. They just chump with the gas, and then we lose our defense against the dragon. Good point. Hammer wants to send in, but I like what Radiantware and Buckeye observe, that sending in just gives up our Ranger. And with the dragon, we need to try and use it for that. But at some point, we may just decide we're wide enough and big enough that we're going to give up the Ranger and swing away. Yeah, totally reasonable, Siriana. I honestly didn't think about it. I just was excited to get a 4-powered blocker against a dragon, but didn't really think about the gassed play. Bring it and swing it. Come on. I want it. Send in that Ogre, baby. Trade a wolf for that thing. Or the 2-1, really. Froggy doesn't even have good attacks right now, but I do want to make the unicorn bigger, so I'm going to go... We're not... Like, we're in a bit of a stalemate, so I'm going to go unicorn ahead of George, number 2. Might flash in Froggy, but there's no reason to do it now. Delina Peggy sounds great, yeah. Did I not have frog mana? Oh, because I, didn't I? 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it doesn't have flash. Never mind. Why did I think this had flash? Because it's kind of surprising when it comes down. Never mind. I somehow in my head, because I don't read, was thinking that had flash. Yeah, armor on the reach solves that problem we were talking about. It still 1-for-1 trades with the dragon, though, so I don't actually love it. I think I just go Gorger here. And then we can play armor as a follow-up play, just to at least get it on board. Next turn, Froggy equipped with plate armor could be real. Yeah, but I feel like they might just offer the red dragon on their next attack anyway. I'm still not swinging. We're not swinging into the ghast with the ranger unprotected. All right, now it's a little more interesting. We can spoils, equip up the ranger, and really go to town here. But maybe we just leave the ranger back for the dragon and we spoils the beholder and just start cracking in. Like, I'm gonna protect that. Spoil on blocks, but do we want to let them block with the beholder? I'm just going to leave this back. Yeah, I'm taking my line. Although we still could. We could move it and still have spoils and armor. But if we plate and attack, then we lose the ranger. So definitely both giants. Trying to decide about the unicorn, but we can't gain life, so just the giants. And yeah, I guess we could trade one for the beholder and then still keep the spoils, but it feels just like if we... Let's see if they do double blocks, because if they do a double block, we can just blow it out. And maybe we do just take this 1-for-1, 6-for-6, no problem. Hold spoils. Maybe they send Red Dragon now because it is a trade. We can spoils the dragon, and then they're down to 1 card, and we just have monstrous stuff. Well, we can just spoils now, kill the dragon, and still Froggy. I'm gonna do that. Why would you hold? Why do you want to hold it? If we do that, we can Froggy equip for one thing. Yeah, that's what I was going to do, true, but getting some pushback. Why not wait for their attack? We're about to untap for our turn. Block Frog does have some merit, right? Because if we kill what they block the frog with, we get the trample all the way through. But I also feel like if we spoils the 4/4, create a 4/4 frog, give it 3/3, it's 7. Like, they need to block it with literally everything or we trample through. So I'm just going to do it my way. I'm doing it my way, gang. I did it my way. Watch me get blown out. That was more Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. There you go. That's more your Sex Pistols version. Lose the Ranger now, but whatever. Deal with it, Oppo. I'm sending it all. Even the 2/2 that can be et. I did it my... Yeah, I can try the Frank version or the Sex Pistols version. Sex Pistols is a lot easier. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting... I was thinking we only got 4, but I forgot we had 7. Nom 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 nom. Froggy with plate mail seemed worth going for. But I gotta stop convincing myself that that frog has flash. Somehow got that in my head early, and I've made that mistake a couple of times now. I think I've got it. Nice opener here. We're curving out, looking good. One forest away from, like, perfection now. Black-blue here in the 4-0 bracket. Well, we can now... With the priest gaining life, we're going to go ahead and play Moondancer first here. Let's offer this trade. I don't think they'll take it. Hunter's Mark actually going to do its thing against blue here. If we had an extra forest, we could even, you know, use this before untapping, but we're choked on forests. I have an idea of what to do next turn. No matter what we draw, we can priest, keep a green, and pick off this apprentice before it does too much damage. I want this trickster to die too, but you know, you get what you get. Let's go. Yeah, we gotta watch the mana. But with Hunter's Mark putting a counter, we could also... Yeah, we could also send in and see if they just want to 1-for-1 block the Moondancer and then Mark to blow him out. You would target the Trickster. Well, that's where I was gonna, like, if we send both, they're totally gonna put the goblin on the champ, which is fine. But then we could mark and take out. I don't want to lose the Moon Dancer. So I'm gonna play this priest first. Yeah, we'll keep that for the air. I could lose it if they double blocked the Moon Dancer and I hadn't played the life gain. All right, they're doing it. Cool. This is like good game. G to the G.
I should have said opponent.
Maybe I shouldn't have kept the hawk. I just liked that it flew. Now we got this to worry about. Well, Ranger blocks. That's all we got. I'm not going to race now. I'm going to start with the Ranger pass, and then see if it lives. All right. Lucky us, and we're finding more stuff to manage. Do we have attacks? Before I should think through attacks. This just blocks everything, so no. Let's look for something here. Get wide. Might be worth bluffing. I'd like to get a little wider before we do that, but definitely consideration. But right now they're top decking and we're in a pretty good spot. Yeah, they decided they were done. Interesting. I think that's a little early. I mean, if they have any removal, they could potentially get this thing going. Oh, good call on saving a card for Ward. I wasn't even really thinking about actually killing that thing by targeting it with anything, but definitely relevant. Yuck! Give me one plains here, deck. One plains would be great. Then we'd have champ with the spoils or priest on 3. Oppo going first with spoils, with Froggy. I don't think it's an easy mole. David says easy mole. I don't know if it's an easy mole. If it were on the play, yes, but we're on the draw. Anybody else keeping? David says mole. David says easy mole. Yeah, I'm keeping. Marshall would keep. Nine planes. I'm gonna put the champ right here. We're going to draw the planes right off the top. It's coming right here. Ready? Here it comes. There we go. Just like the doctor ordered it up. Infrequently punished. Got some work to do though. That's quite the 2-3 punch there from Oppo. Shepherd. A little bit bigger than the priest. We'll go with the shepherd here. We can hunter's mark with either of these and kill, but the shepherd's more likely to live. Just need this to not grow this turn. Please don't gain life, but here comes the bard. Okay, that's actually fine. Yeah, I like this. Let's see if we can get a 2-for-1. It's kind of an obvious block, right? Yeah, baby.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Albert. We could go Innkeeper Priest. We could go Froggy setting up spoils next turn. Froggy setting up spoils next turn is some interesting action. Let's do that. Kind of risky, but I mean, what's the risk? That they kill it? Okay, well, then we don't do that. What's the risk you're worried about, True? Oh, what a play from Oppo to find the tools to actually do something about this. But we get treasure spoils and still get there because somehow
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
easy game. Right. What do you mean? Dark Star. Watch the magic. Leaving the owlbear alive? Sure, we're gonna get a frickin' 7/7 or whatever. Yeah, we'll leave it alive. Sorry, 8/8. Trample. So now they're kind of forced into a double block that would just trade 1-for-1. Let's see if we can draw something. Like that. The presence of the hill giant kind of says we could just throw away the froggy. But we don't need to. Let's say no attacks. Let's drop the giant and start sending that. Got to worry about Hydra. That's no joke. We've had some great plays this turn, but Oppo's still totally in it with a lot of big boys and an excellent land here. I think that's kind of our removal suite, though. We've got Paladin class, Delver's Torch, Dwarven Chant, Steadfast, Owlbear, Ranger, Plate Armor. Yeah, we have nothing else that reaches out and kills anything. So the rest is deploying creatures that can attack successfully. Yeah, Plate Armor would make for a lot of good attacks. This thing, green and X, so you pay, I'm just trying to make sure I know how much they can be. They can make a 5/5 right now. That's what you all were saying. Yeah, 5/5 right now is what they could block with. But we're going to do the plan and wait and send Hill Giant. Little bit floody. Now, if we send George, I think their best block is Prowler plus Priest pumping, but we'll still make him do that. Oh, we've been missing out on all sorts of memes here. Let me give you an owlbear. Give you an owlbear here for sure.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take?
Interesting that they're throwing George on George. I wonder if this is going to save something here. What else have I missed? Oh, we have Prosperous Innkeeper.
It is a pleasure having you with us again, Mr. Rick.
We have Direwolf Prowler. More Georgie for us. Now if we send the 8/8, they can, again, they can make this, make a 5/5. And a 5/5 plus 4/4 is a 1-for-1, but we get rid of that pesky land. Yeah, I'm in for sending Froggy. Are you? Yeah, but I would, like, we need to trade for this land eventually, right? So we can either do that with Froggy or Giant. We could play Giant and try to make that trade next turn. But yeah, like, I think I'm just going to do it, and then we have Giant behind. And it might create some new attacks for our smaller stuff. All right. Still got cards out of their hand, and they still got to trade something, and we still got a Giant that's looking to trade for their land. So a lot of our colossal creatures on both sides are getting smacked around. We'll go ahead and gain some life at least. And a little more. It only gave me one. Oh, I thought I only had one trample damage. It's because I thought I only had one. In my head, I trampled over for one. And so I executed. I think it's because I mathed out the double block I was expecting. And yeah, just screwed that up. That's okay. Unlikely that green gets it back. There is the uncommon, though. Watch them use that uncommon to get the Herd Gorger back and win now, and it'll just be completely on me. So here we go. Now we've got the... Now they have a double block, and they can just sit back on the Hydra. maybe we don't attack in if when the dust settles, they've got a Hydra and we've got nothing but small stuff. So I'm actually just going to play this. I don't think we do. I think if we trade George off for these two, we're actually not in a good spot. I'm going to wait till we find something else. We can race a Hydra, but that's if they attack with it. If they just sit back and block, we can't, right? But I'm not suggesting they're going to attack and swing. I'm suggesting they just sit back and threaten to eat our stuff forever. Yeah. But let's say, okay, so let's say we send, but what do the turns look like after that? I don't like what it looks like after we send, and they double block, so I'm going to say no attacks. And if this means that right now they really can't do anything, because to hold this position they need to keep holding up Hydra mana, that's okay too. Granted, Hydra just gets bigger and bigger, but the point is last turn they didn't need to activate Hydra to take out our biggest creature. There we go. All sorts of help there. Well, not all sorts. He gets our bomb. But that's all sorts of helpful. I believe it's our only target. But a good. And play it level once, level twice. That requires 3. I mean, I can just hold this and we'll play it next turn and get this all the way to level 3 on the first turn. And then we're talking. I think even Auto Tapper will figure this out. We have nothing else to spend the mana on, so it should look and see. I'll be very, I know the guy who coded the Auto Tapper, and it's a really, really tough challenge. It can seem like it must have been coded by somebody incompetent, but it actually turns out that just Magic is hyper complicated. But there you go. It's not doing it wrong. So, whenever you attack, until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. Probably just attacking alone and giving it double strike is okay. We can send the cleric. It trades for both. Just want to make sure we're doing this right. And it's complicated. Really? How's that? Is it okay? There was some kind of hiccup there. I got no audio for a second myself. I think it was just something weird. Okay. So they activate for a 7/7, right? And a 7/7... Yeah, but they can just block with a priest. It's not like it has trample, so they can start eating other stuff. I think we just send in... Maybe this is lazy. I'm going to do it this way. I'm putting it on George because I don't want to lose George. I just don't want to lose George. Buff Pally is interesting too, but again, that just gives them a block to kill George, and I feel like we can't lose if they can't kill George, so I'm protecting George. We're a bit all in, of course. Throwing away some creatures for damage here means that they do find an answer for the class or the George. That could be tough, but yeah, there you go. They found an answer. Unreal. And me with the land draw. So, not sure what's going on in the tech front. Hang in there and we'll see how it plays. I'll try and sort this out later. What's going on the tech front. Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7... 6/6 max on the Hydra, so sending in George is pretty easy here, yeah. I wonder what I can close. I'm gonna send you away for a second, chat. At least my ability to read you. Closing Chrome, seeing if that'll help. All right, now, well, oh, darn it. Hate that. Left one stupid Chrome window on, which has eliminated my ability to do the restore. 32, we're just taking this. All right. We'll try this. Looking to chump with our 4/1 or trade with the Owlbear. Turn our Jizzit into a 4/4 would be nice. Bummer. Now they've got a flyer we can't do anything about currently. We'll play out a unicorn, try to get wide enough here. Could send Pally and make this 5. Probably not worth it yet, though.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take?
Yeah, we're finding land. Oppo's finding gas. That's been a story of the week in some ways in our losses, but we're 5-0 here doing fine. Can take a loss. This is a nice draw even with all of our combo-rific action going. Planar ally is just going to be too much over the long haul. But that didn't hurt. Scry away that land. I like that. One more creature away from then at least being able to send in Unicorn that would turn this into a house. All right, plate armor, nice. What can we do with this? Should we drizz it up that? 6/6. We could also, well, let's play it. Yeah, like, true here. Suck it, true. When I'm complaining, just let me frickin' complain. You try streaming without complaining. All right. There's not even Hat here to bail you out, True. If Hat were here, he'd let you off the hook. Maybe Mama will if she's still paying attention. All right, where are we putting this? I'm doing timeout games when I should actually try to win a game of Magic. If we put it on the 4/4, what blocks do they have? They actually have good blocks there. We want to put it on something big that if it dies, turns the Drizzit into impossibility. 4/1. Yeah, let's put it on the 4/1. I like it. Send. It's been quite a game. Being a little tilty, but it's been quite a game. We'll put this here now. I didn't have trample. I beat a 7/7 Drizzit the other day because I got wide enough. It just wasn't enough to stop me. It was like, yeah, you got a huge thing. I can chump it all day, and I got a billion creatures. What are you gonna do? Yeah, well, whatever. I just didn't want this killed. Like we have so much mana. Obviously, we can move this around wherever. Do we have anything with trample? Not really. Yeah, Monk becomes perfect against Plate because Oppo continuing to find everything. Send Pally, sure, but let's equip it up. Actually, Pally doesn't get through that, so that doesn't make sense. Unless we're just trying to raise Unicorn's level. So I'm gonna send Unicorn, if anything. Yeah, why not? This is a big deal. It's kind of our last attack with a plate armored thing anyway. And sure, I'll throw this on the Pally. We have blocks. I'll throw it here. I don't know. We're going to move this anyway. It doesn't really matter. They're not going to send into anything that we're going to block with a Paladin anyway. Yeah, I could have sent Drizzit. They would have chumped. But yeah, Monk can only get one of these two. This is pretty good. 6/6 and an 8/8 double strike. We can find some non-lands. Any creature is going to make this bigger with the Innkeeper. No bull strength. I don't even think we have interaction. We don't have any interaction. We have equipment and creatures left. That's it. There's one of them. Good one. Get some life and... where do we want a dungeoneer? Probably down the middle. Get a scry. Yeah, we go left and get life as well. That's true. It would make the Moon Dancer even bigger right now. Owlbear is a nice draw. We'll take that. And actually, since we have the scry, that's a good reason to gain the life now anyway. And, yeah, we'll keep sending Drizzt here. It's got good attacks now. Oh, I figured that they... Yeah, I should have re-equipped, but it didn't really matter because it was the only thing I'm sending and they were just going to chump. I can re-equip for defense, though. And we'll put that on Pally. Well, that's only a 5/5, and this is a 5/5 now. We'll put it on here. Oh, that was just a misclick. Never mind. I really tried to put it on the Paladin here. I was being loosey-goosey and misclicked. Oppo's got to be wondering what the heck. Although I kind of want him to attack. Bring it. Not like they're attacking with the Owlbear. And yeah, the equip on offense didn't matter either because they're just chumping this indefinitely. Do we have any reach? What we want is the... Wouldn't mind the Ranger. Get us some 4-power reach. This ally is just going to town on us. Now if they... Yeah, they're getting hasty with this main phase. Like, I appreciate that. Now I will actually... And there's our Ranger that we wanted. Excellent. Hell, can play that after combat for good times. Although I can't play it after combat if I move the plate armor. Do we need to attack with multiple things? If we move the plate armor, we can send 2 things. They would probably double block the Pally. I'm just going to leave the plate, send the Drizzt, have him chump again, and then drop the Ranger. And then next turn we have all sorts of stuff to do. We get wide as well. I mean, we might just be wide enough to win next turn on a big attack. Especially if they let us move the equipment again. We effectively just drew 2 cards on those scries, or 3 cards. I can't complain about that. I've been complaining about my land draws, but we have successfully put 3 lands on the bottom. That's been super powerful there. All right, do we finally kill this stupid ally? I don't know if they didn't see the Ranger or... Yeah, weird. I'll take this every time. Thanks, Oppo. And... we... they just got the embarrassment reach. Wow, I was like, okay, how do we win from here? And they're like, oops. Whoa. What? That was a weird kind of... It was a fun, interesting game, and then Oppo was just like, let me just throw this away real quick. But why did they scoop? I don't know. We weren't quite there yet. I don't know. I thought they had a chance. Maybe they didn't have any more interaction or something. All right, 6-0, fine start. Can't get much better unless I would just play better during the 6-0. But, like, did they have a flyer left? I mean, if they had, like, one flyer, they could have drawn the flyer next and gone all the way with it. I mean, it was a long way to go still, but I don't know. That was a heck of a game, though. And this is a heck of an opener. Paladin into Mark. Yes, please. Cleric can go fetch our bomb as well. I think we're going with this pally, though. Wow, still chunky for me, too. I don't know. How's it going for you all? Because I'm getting super chunked now. But I've slimmed it down as much as I can realistically slim down. Well, thanks for hanging out despite the lag. I can't really do much about it, but we'll close out this event the best we can. Let's keep that, yeah. Oh, baby. How about Cleric for our bomb, Mark the Windseer attack for 4? Holy hell. Big turn incoming. Do we want the bomb now? Because we could also do this and save this for another turn. We get Shepherd and then Moondancer gets real good next turn. Yeah, maybe we wait on this. Like, we don't need the class yet to really do what we want to do. So I'm going to do it this way. Could make treasure. What does that get us? Nothing nah, we're just making Gobbo. Mike wants treasure. I like Gobbo. We're getting sideways. We have stuff we want to do in hand anyway. We might draw land naturally. I don't know.
Fools like you barely deserve my attention.
Now they can go doggo, but we can take out the Planeswalker if they do. And now we kind of get the Planeswalker anyway? I mean, we just get him. Oh, wow. And we get Innkeeper into Moondancer. Yeah, we'll keep that. Yeah, continue to keep that there. And where do we want this counter? Spread it around, but I think on Shepherd, we'll let the Gobbo be a spare part and strengthen our Shepherd.
Even a fool can affect the balance of the multiverse.
That sounded like Matt Tabak. Is Matt Tabak the voice of Mordenkainen? Wow, that's a whole lot of nothing. who is Matt Tabak, the rules manager and well, former rules manager. I think he's just he's got a different title now. Torch is fine, but we kind of want more land. We don't need to mess around with Torch right now. Yeah, it might just be a good game. Let's see here. We'll definitely keep that. We'll draw that card, and then we can even cleric for our class if we need it. Bam, 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 bam. All right, that was our deck doing its thing 7 times in a row. Pretty cool. Nothing counteracts a little salt from an earlier event like 7-0ing in the second event. Gotta be one of my top decks of the format. I mean, we didn't have a ton of life gain payoffs, actually, but the ones we did have, like when we got Unicorn or Moon Dancer going, it was crazy. Like, this just needed a little bit more life gain payoff to be truly bonkers, or maybe just whatever. Like, they had some, but who cares? The real thing, of course, was the Pally class, the Drizzt, the Froggy, the Nadar. There was a lot of bombs going on in this one, and it showed with the 7-0 finish. Right on. Green-white bombs, good archetype indeed. All right, YouTube friends, we like those. Always fun to stomp through an event and just feel like you're invincible. I'm sure the Magic Gods will get me back to my humble self tomorrow. But in the meantime, and thank you, sorry for how hiccupy that was. I'm gonna have to look into what that might have been and see if that continues in the future and what I can do to improve things. Like I said, I really don't want to buy a new computer, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Thanks, gang. Catch you later. I'm also worried about it, how the mic cut out completely. I don't know if that was it was probably just the whatever rough edges we were experiencing there was probably the reason why. Yeah, it could be reformatting time. You're not wrong. If so, I'm gonna limp through this week no matter what here on Wednesday, but if there's serious problems, continue tomorrow and the day after. I'll just have to make it a weekend thing. But yeah, good times. Thanks for hanging. I don't have my, let's see, where's my, I closed my web browser so it would be less hiccupy, but it means that I have less info. I'm gonna go, somebody give me a raid captain and just a suggestion. Don't even have to pay for it. Just tell me somebody who's online that I can raid, because I just don't have my web browser open. I don't even know who's around. So, Cord? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I don't have my web browser open, so I don't have those open. You can call yourself Paid Mama. And it's Cord O calls, right? Yep. All right, pile on. Thanks, everybody. Claim this prize. Hooray, 7-0. I don't know if I fully said goodbye to YouTube friends, so in case I didn't, goodbye, YouTube friends.